Shalom everyone. This week we're in Parashat Tavo, and Parashat Tavo is very hard to understand because it is also known the parasha of the Klalot, the parasha of the curses. There are many curses in this parasha, and in many synagogues people simply, when the Baal Koreh reads the parasha, the person who reads it, he reads it with a low voice because, you know, this is really tough words. So, how do we understand, decipher this parasha, since it is, as we said, very hard? So, of course, without the Zohar, there's no way we could get it. If you look at the Zohar itself, there's no Zohar for Parashat Tavo. It's scattered around the Zohar, and in Zohar Chadash, which is another manuscript of the Zohar that was discovered later on, there is a paragraph for Parashat Tavo that tells us some amazing stuff about our exact days that we live through. Okay, so what do we have Parashat Tavo? Okay, so we're reading in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 26, verse 1. והיה כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה וירשת וישבת בה. And as you come to the land that the Lord your God is giving you, that Hashem your God is giving you as an inheritance, and you dwell in it, ולקחת מראשית כל פרי אדמה, you take the first fruit of every season, and you put it in a basket, and you go to the place that Hashem, God, is going to dwell His name. Uvat el Kohen, it should come to the Kohen that will be in those days, אשר יהיה בימים ההם, ואמרת אליו, הגדתי היום להשם אלוקיך, and you tell him, I'm telling today to the Lord your God that I came to the land, and so on and so forth, and the Kohen will, what is this story about? It's called Bikurim, the mitzvah of Bikurim, which means to bring the first fruit. You don't eat the first fruit of your field or your orchard, you bring them to the temple. Okay, there are many issues around it, but what's in it for us and today, because most of us are not farmers, okay, and most of us, you know, there's no temple physically, and no Kohen serving in the temple. So what do we do with this text? And the whole thing is about one very important thing. We're preparing for Rosh Hashanah, but not only for Rosh Hashanah. It's the most important thing we can ever learn is hidden in these psukim. And that will help us to understand what's coming next. Okay? So what? So we find the answer for that in two places in the Zohar, and one of them is the book of Yitro, in the Zohar of Yitro, and it speaks about Uvata el HaKohen asher yeh b'yamim hahem. The commentary on that verse is hidden in the Zohar of Parashat Yitro. Okay, and in another place, and also in the Zohar Parashat Vayishlach. The first one is as follows: that the two insights that are basically are one. And what does it say? The Zohar says, and you come to the Kohen that will be in those days, and you tell him, I said today to the Lord your God. And the Zohar is saying, what does it mean? Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, מה הגעתי היום להשם אלוקיך? What does it mean that I am telling to the Lord your God? Should be LaHashem Elokeinu, should be the Lord our God. It's not his God. You know what I mean? Nobody can say it's my God. This is like weird, you know. There's one God and he's our God. Okay? He's our God, he's our Father, he's our King. It's all about our. What I mean, the Lord your God? Amar lo Rabbi Shimon, so Rabbi Shimon answered. Listen carefully. וכי פסוק יחידי הוא, is it the only place? ולא נאמר, there are many other places. כי השם אלוקיך מביאך אל ארץ טובה. Because Hashem, your God, brings you to a good land. Moses says so. Asher Hashem Elokecha noten lach, that the Lord your God giving you. Ki Hashem Elokecha esh ochlau, because Hashem your God is consuming fire. It's in many, many places. V'chulam kach. What is this expression? It's like, it's very weird. If you understand, there's not your God, it's our. Ela, kach shaninu. However, that's how we learn, says Rabbi Shimon. Kol hadar be'eretz Yisrael dome kemi sheyesh lo Eloha. Whoever lives in Israel, it's like he has a God. V'chol hadar bechutz ha'aretz dome kemi she'en lo Eloha. And whoever lives outside Israel, like he has no God. Ma ha'tam? What's the reason? Well, you want to tell me that everyone around the world who live outside the Holy Land, it's like, we are not the only one who's saying the Holy Land, like billions of people call it the Holy Land, right? Still, if you're living outside the Holy Land, what's wrong with that? It's like you just kind of, most of the world, oh, you're good for nothing, you're useless. לפי שזרע הקודש עולה לארץ הקדושה. Someone who has a holy soul must make aliyah, which means he must, in Hebrew, you immigrate from one country to another, but you ascend to Israel. The word for immigration is hagira, but immigrating to Israel is called aliyah, ascending. Immigrating outside of Israel is called yerida, descending. So, if somebody lived in Israel, he moves outside the country, he is called Yored, a descendant. You're the one who descends. Okay? שבכוח נשמתם הם מתייחסים אל הארץ הקדושה, because whoever has a connection to holiness must be drawn to the Holy Land. והשכינה במקומה יושבת, but the Shekhinah, the Holy Presence, dwells in its place. וזה תלוי בזה, and one is connected to another. ומשה לא אמר אלוהיך, why did Moses says אלוהיך, your God, אלא לאותם שהיו עתידים להיכנס לארץ הקדושה, because he's telling to the children of Israel, they are going into the Holy Land. Only later on, Moses realized, when he prays to God, let me go to, now you understand why he prayed so much to go to the Holy Land, till God said to him, you had it already, the holiness you wanted to connect to, in the Holy Land you have it. You don't need to get to the Holy Land to get to that level of holiness. It's okay, Rav Lach, you have enough. Okay? However, for most people, it's not enough. And I've seen that a lot. People, you talk to them about the Holy Land, you talk to them about the holiness, you're talking to them about connecting to God, till you are in Israel, till you are in Jerusalem, till you come to the vicinity of the Temple Mount, you don't know, you're missing it. And after you touch that, you tapped into that frequency, it's a different story. So, when he says to the children of Israel, Hashem Elokecha, because you guys are going to get a level of connecting to God in which I, Moses, don't have. So it's going to be your level of connection that I'm not going to have that. He didn't realize that he already has it. Why he doesn't say Eloheinu? לפי שמשה לא זכה להיכנס לארץ, because he didn't get into the land. ולפיכך אלוהיך במד, that's why he really said אלוהיך, your God. בכל מקום, every place, לפי שרק הם היו יודעים להיכנס שם. Again, why is that important? ואמר לו, ודאי ככה, of course it is, he says to him, אבל כאן נאמר, ובאת אל הכהן אשר יהיה בימים ההם. So why did he say he should come to the Kohen that will be at that time? If we understand the symbolism of the Torah, Kohen means what? Chesed. Loving kindness. Unconditional love. And when you say, ואמרת הגעתי היום להשם אלוקיך, הרי הם נמצאים בארץ. And then you go to the Kohen, you are not bringing the first fruit if you're not living in Israel. If you have first fruit in the Napa Valley or in the Champaign County, whatever, here there's no bikurim. Only the fruits of the Holy Land. Okay? So what does it mean, Hashem Elokecha? The Lord your God, the farmer lives in the Holy Land. That does not apply. So you realize there are two layers that we're going to. Why is it so important to be in the Holy Land? Why is it that so many people for thousands of years risk their lives to come just to be a little bit in Jerusalem? Why? What's so special? Okay? אלא, עליהם להראות ולהודות שבזכות החסד העליון הם זוכים לחוזה. They have to show that all of what they've got is thanks to that supreme chesed. And that's why they have to say to the Kohen, which is symbolizing the chesed. שנאמר, הגעתי היום להשם אלוקיך. Because לפי שהכהן בא מצד החסד. Because the Kohen comes from the side of the chesed. Okay, still, this is, I have to explain. In the last few parashot, there's one thing that we discuss. Parashat Re'eh was about the merit to be able to see. To see where's the blessing, where's the curse. Why? Because if you can't see where's the blessing, that's a curse. Because you're running after all kinds of stuff, and you're running after all kinds of illusions that finally you realize you're being cheated, especially by your own self. Okay? And then we spoke about, we had about Parashat Shoftim, and Shoftim we had about, it's all about that Mishpat is not judging, but healing, bringing into balance. Okay? And then we had Kitetseh. It's about the consciousness of finding the positive side of our character, because that is what we need. Because it's all about consciousness. It's all about consciousness. So now, we're coming to the real most important thing. What does it mean, consciousness? We spoke last week about you building a new house and you have to have a rail around the roof. And we learned that the Kabbalists are saying the rail around your roof is the consciousness. It's what is the definition? How do you define yourself? But here, it's a more exact resolution, which is, who are we praying to? Rosh Hashanah is in 2 weeks. Who are we praying to? If you're outside Israel, it's tough. Because outside Israel, it's very hard to tap into the supreme chesed. And that's why when it says that when you are outside Israel, it's so hard. It's like you're being without a God. What do I mean without a God? The moment you pray to a God, and that's what it says over here. You know what? Even Rashi, he's not Zohar, he's not Kabbalah, but he is. He's saying about the same concept. What is Rashi saying? When you start to talk, and it's like the next verse, Mazkir chasdei hamakom, you should mention the chesed of God. Rashi is hinting that. Rashi was not allowed to speak about the Zohar, but he had the access. It's all about connecting to chesed. What is chesed? Again, who are you praying to? A lot of people, most people, in religion that we know, the religions of the Middle or Dark Ages, they pray to a God of vengeance.
Of what?
Vengeance. Of anger. Of jealousy. You know, a lot of people of those religions, could be Jews, Christians, Muslims, you hear them brimstone and fire Oh, you are sure that there is a God up there that is just waiting to smite you? Just give him an opportunity. Just give him the chance. You're God. Right? So, you serve God by, you're simply afraid. You're afraid. You have this image of that entity. And as we said many times, Rav Ashlag is saying, who created the consciousness of God in your mind? Was the teacher in the kindergarten? Were there your parents? They talked to you about who is God? Who was it? And what is their qualifications in theology to bring your consciousness to a place in which you really have an idea what is God? And if you're praying to this picture of an old man sitting up in the throne that is vindictive, can't tolerate any competition, you're praying to an idol. You're praying to an idol. It's not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what the Zohar is saying, it's very hard to reach that purity of consciousness in which when you pray to God, you pray to pure love, pure kindness, endless love that is unconditional. It's very hard. It's almost impossible. Why? Because how many times we go through tough times and we think that God made it. God, why are you doing this to me? And God is like, I didn't do this to you. What do you want from me? That you accuse me. It's like a person puts his finger in the socket. God, why did you do this to me? Sorry, didn't you know that you don't put your finger in the socket? I gave you free will. I'm giving you in this world, it says in the next parasha, life and death, blessing and curse. But you should choose. You want to choose. You want to be a creator. You don't believe in free gifts. So I can't give you all of it for free. You want it to be a creator. You want to create of your own. So, but the first thing is consciousness. Who are we praying to? Who's our Father in the heaven? Who's our King in the heaven? Who's the Lord? Who's the Master of the universe? Who is that entity? And it's tough. Because consciousness is everything. And if you pray to someone that you're afraid is going to smite you any second, if you pray to someone that you're not so sure if he loves you, if you pray to someone so that you don't know if he really loves you and cares for you, then you're praying to an idol. That's terrible. Why? It says, do not pray to the idols. Correct? So are we being punished by that? Yes. Who punishes us? Our own actions. When you believe or have faith or whatever, when you picture a God that you basically apply on him, impose on him your own shortcomings, you have a problem. Because the first concept in monotheism is that God is endless love, never changing, because if he is changing, he's not endless. And the only thing that is never changing is love and energy and life. We're coming to Rosh Hashanah, the most important layer of the building we're building for a new self is how we perceive God. As an endless being that loves us unconditionally, and he sees me? Yeah. He is endless, therefore he can have the attention to everyone, everything, even an ant. everything. That's tough for human brain to get. Why do we need to study Torah? Because that's a tree of life. Because by studying that, we have to study that in order to reach that place in which we don't believe in a vindictive God. We don't believe in a punishing God. We don't believe that there's anyone up there who really wants to hurt us. Doesn't matter what we've done. No matter what we've done. Okay? This is like the condition, the beginning before going to anything else. Why? Because how is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur being called Judgment Day? So you figure there's a judging God over there and he's just waiting to get even with you. This is so sad. So many teachers that proclaim to be messengers of God, proclaim, pretend, are speaking about that God of anger and vengeance and venom and whatever. And the moment people live, of course, that justifies killing, destroying, bringing pain to everyone and especially to the believer. Because if that is the source, of course, that life is pain. In order to put an end to the pain, you have, first of all, to have that consciousness of chesed, which is, this is the source. So, in the end of that story of that, the fruits of the land, verse 11, chapter 26, it says, ושמחת בכל הטוב אשר נתן לך אדוני אלוהיך ולביתך אתה והלוי והגר אשר בקרבך. And you should rejoice, and you will rejoice, with all the good that God your Lord gave you, and to your household, to you, to the Levites, and to the foreigner, all of you together. Which means, what is the goal of all of it? To be happy, nothing else. If you read the book of Deuteronomy, how many times you read that word Vesamachta, and you will or you should rejoice. Can't you see that? It's all about rejoicing. It's all about being happy. Because what else God wants us to be? He created us. He's the giver. He's the great giver. He's the ultimate giver. And a giver is not a giver if there's no one to give. We were created as eternal customers. Whose customer? His customers. So we are here to be happy. However, we were created in His image. We can't take free gifts. Okay? So He gave us the opportunity to earn that. Because the happiness, if it's not achieved by ownership, we don't believe in it. Humans can't take free gifts. They take them, but then they get sour. Right? So then it speaks about, we're talking about the first, bringing the first offering, the first fruit. Because why? You have to acknowledge all of this. You have to acknowledge whatever you have is God's grace. And there's nothing but that, God's grace. There's nothing but that. Every second. It is a constant that never changes. This is the hardest thing, reaching that place. Why do you need to be in Israel? It's easier to hear that sound in Jerusalem. Because Jerusalem is Yerushalayim, Ir Shalem, the city of a whole. To hear that whole voice inside of this harmony. Why is that people have Jerusalem syndrome? They come to Jerusalem, they finally hear that voice, and it's like, who cares for the rest? Like, who cares? What? All of this? Nothing. Leave me alone. And then you go home, and you're flying for a while, and then you start to forget. And you need to go back to recharge. You know, the Baal Shem Tov tried to come to Jerusalem, couldn't make it. Rashi didn't make it. He lived in France, in Champagne. What about? They were people who had the ability to get there. How? Through the study of the Torah. That will bring you there. But not everyone can get it. Today, you take an airplane. Over then, it was so dangerous. Almost impossible. Politics always around Jerusalem. Today, it's the safest. Ever. Ever. You go around and you feel so high. Why? So I remember like bringing students from America and from other places and come to Jerusalem and they say like, oh, now we understand what you're saying for years. You pray, we have to be concentrated to be in Jerusalem. What does that mean? Now we feel that. There's no way we could get it outside. Now we get it. It's not a must, but it's the law. You read the Shulchan Aruch, the Book of Laws, and it says when you pray the prayer, you have to walk and stand in the Holy of Holies. We spoke about it in the Temple Mount. Why? Where else should they be? You know, who are you praying to? Are you praying to anger, upset, lack? What? No! What do you get? Same. Anger, upset, whatever. You have to connect to a God of love. That's the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of Moses, the God of the Bible, of the Torah, of the 5 books of Moses, the God of Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel. Why are you learning the words? Because you're basically reprogramming your consciousness to be able to attach to a God of complete love. The moment your brain somehow can figure it out, it's nothing about figuring out. It's like getting on that frequency. Now you know this is where should I be, and all the rest is nonsense. Very simple. All the rest is nonsense. So when you get upset, the Talmud says you simply got stupid. Because, are you stupid or something? Don't you know that getting upset is A, getting away from God, B, it's not good for your health? Your doctor told you, right? Your cholesterol anyway is too high already, and your blood pressure, forget about it. No, you're not supposed to. So why are you getting upset? But the moment you know there's an endless loving God around you, within you, holding you every second, would you get upset? What for? It's ridiculous. Why do we get upset? Why do we get afraid? Why do we hurt other people? It's because we get afraid. Correct? It's because we get stupid. We simply disconnect. And what does it mean to reconnect? Teshuvah. Not repentance. Teshuvah. Replugging. Replugging, if you don't know where to plug into, there's no way you're going to replug. You don't know where's the plug is. You know where's the what do you call it? The place you plug it in. The outlet. You don't know where's the outlet. So you're going around and everything that looks like an outlet, you try to attach to. And that all of that is just an introduction. Because then it goes to chapter 26. היום, verse 16, היום הזה אדוני אלוהיך מצווך לעשות את החוקים האלה. This day, today, which today? Rosh Hashanah, the day of the creation. That's where everything happened. The Hashem your God is giving you to do these laws and those חוקים and משפטים, it's like balances. ושמרת ועשית, and you should observe consciousness, ועשית actions. אותם בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך, with all your heart, with all your soul, spirit. את השם האמרת היום להיות להיכל אלוהים, and then we continue. And here Moses says, when you come to the promised land, then you come in the promised land, there are two mountains next to Shechem, Mount Eival and Mount Gerizim. The people will stand there, or Mount, half the nation on Mount Eival, the mount of the curses, and Har Gerizim, the mount of the blessings. Why do you need two? Just give blessings. We said already. We have to understand that the curses are also blessings. You know, one of the biggest curses a person can have is to be born without a sense of pain. A person like this can kill himself in an instant because you have no sense of danger. You're not realizing when you're hurting yourself. So the pain is to show us that we went off course, that we are unplugged. The pain is not to hurt us. The pain is a symbol of like, okay, you know why it's dark? Because nobody turned on the light. Oh God, why do you have darkness? Somebody has to bring the light in. Why is there pain? Because because you're not tapping into the light. That's why you experience lack of light is pain. So that drives us to look for the light, look for the balance. And then they stand there, and they all say, and the Levites will say, and the whole nation would answer. I'm reading now chapter 27, verse 15. Aru ha'ish asher ya'aseh pesel u'masecha. Cursed is the person who will make a statue and a mask to Avat Hashem, the abomination of God. You know, the whole thing which is called idol worshipping. Ve'anu kolam ve'amu amen. And the whole nation will answer amen. Why saying? It's like, it's not nice to say, curse is the person. You know, people should do whatever. This is the Torah. This is not a newspaper. This is not the New York Times. This is the Torah. The Torah is giving you the rules. Okay? You want to be blessed, that's what you do. You want to be cursed, that's what you do. If you put your finger in the socket, that's really bad. And it's nobody's fault but yours. Okay? No PC language over here. It is wrong to worship a statue. Why? Look around this world. All the nations are still worshiping statues. Very bad shape. Economy, forget it. Human rights, forget it. Look at history. It's not working. It's not good. So, okay, maybe you should move on already. And worship only one endless light that loves everyone. Humans, animals, plants, everyone, because everyone is emanating from that light. Very simple. Very simple. If you invent yourself a god, could be a statue, could be a person, could be an animal, doesn't matter. Could be, I don't know, a cigarette is also God. Oh, my life is the cigarette. That more, yeah. Bad news. You should not have another God. Bad news. You're cursed. It's not PC, but somebody has to say the truth. The Torah said the truth. It's not PC, but the Torah is not the modern newspaper. Okay? Aur makle aviv imo. And curse is the one who despises his father and his mother. You don't do that. Simply, you don't do that. Why? They are the people who gave you your life. If you just, destroy if you're on the second floor, destroy the first floor, don't expect to be standing there, floating in the air. You will fall. You have to respect where you came from. It doesn't say you should love your parents. Sometimes it's too much, but respect. You should give them because you are what you are because of what they gave you. And what they gave you is because you chose them as your parents as to be the place to grow up or to be born, because that's what you needed for your own tikkun. And the moment you cannot respect your parents, you cannot respect who you are. And what's your tikkun? Oh, but my parents, they gave me such a bad education. Why did you choose to be born in such an environment? Because that's what you have to undo in order to raise yourself to become the person you should become. Okay? So you should appreciate that. Okay? And so on, it goes on a lot of, and it's like, what is all of this stuff? It's like, why saying nasty words on people? It's wrong. A person who is not behaving properly according to the rules of the universe is cursed. Who curses him? Himself? Like putting the thing in the socket? You can't blame the power company, right? You can't blame, they made sure when they gave the license, they got the house on the net, right? On the power network. They checked if it's by code. So you can blame them. You can blame the engineer if they found out it's he did it right. And you know what? The builder did it right. So what do you want from them right now? You know those people that, us, that we found ourselves in a moment of blaming everybody around, whoever moves, whoever does not move, sometimes inanimate object. What are you standing in my way? That moment, you are listening to the wrong voice. There's only one God, and He's everything. So, not going by these rules is disconnecting yourself from the network, and you get yourself cursed. Not because somebody is cursing you. You simply pull the plug out. What do you expect? But then comes something much more severe than that. We're coming now to chapter 28, verse 1. When you hear all of this, to observe and to do again, and then all of these amazing blessings will come on you. Why? You plug in. Cause and effect. You're blessed in the city, you're blessed in the field. You're blessed, whatever, your children, the fruits of your land, whatever you do. Whether you're blessed when you're coming, you're blessed when you're going, and mainly this is poetry. Something to really write on your door, right? Something that something that you'd have always in front of you, in every room in the house. Your enemies that come to fight you, they will fall, they didn't know even where it's coming from. Okay, because you're blessed. Because when you're full of light, the darkness cannot come in. וראו כל עמי הארץ כי שם השם נקרא עליך ויראו ממך, and all the nations of the land, of the country, of the earth will see that the name of God is upon you. Because if you're a man of God, or a woman of God, whatever, everybody can see that. Don't you see I'm a man of God? You know what? In the beginning of the 20th century, maybe, people still had some authority. In some places in the end of the 20th century, but this is the 21st century. And in Hebrew you say, Bishvil kavod tzarich la'avod. You want respect, you want honor, you have to work for it. You have to earn it. What do you mean you have to earn it? People do not respect you just because you're stronger. You have, as Gandhi was saying, you be the change you want to see in the world. You have to be a role model. If you are connecting to the light of God, people will see that. And they will appreciate you for that. Because you remind them what is that they want to become. This is honor that is earned. Just because you're stronger, it's illegal today. Illegal, I don't know, you should get it. As a father, as a mother, as a boss, as a leader, political, you have to be the grace people want to see. And the world will rebel against it. The world is already rebelling because the truth is there. People see. They don't see the whole picture, but they see enough. You cannot cheat everyone all the time, right? Somebody said it before me. Okay. And then God will open his treasures and you'll have all of this bliss. And if you just do connect to the light, that's it. But then verse 15. והיה אם לא תשמע בקול אדוני לך, but if you're not going to listen to these rules, ובאו עליך כל הקללות האלה והשיגוך, all of these curses will come and reach you. And then comes a list of curses that are so strong. And as I say many times, Israelis, when they get upset, they have a problem cursing in Hebrew. It's like too much. So they curse either in Russian or in Arabic or in other languages. Israelis do not really curse in Hebrew. It's too powerful. And they don't use these curses, except for one, the worst of them all. This one, they do use. Okay? And which one? The one that says, וכל מחולי אשר לא כתוב בספר התורה הזה. Every choli v'maka, which means when it is ready, when you know he's really, that's just beyond everything, maka שלא כתובה בתורה. This is a plague that is not written in the Torah. When you want to say this is beyond, it's it can be worse than that. That's from here. Okay? So, what do you do with these curses? In most synagogues, when they read these curses, first of all, nobody wants to get this aliyah. Usually they give it to the reader because he's there anyway. You already read it. Okay, you'll read it. Okay, nobody wants to get the honor of being called to the Torah for all of these curses. And you have to read all of the curses at once. Because somebody, you know what? I'm willing, okay, but 3 verses only. Who takes another? We'll share it among the whole congregation. No. Halacha says in the Talmud, you have to read it at once. All of them. Okay, you read it anyway. It's your aliyah. How do you explain something like this? They read it with a low voice which is against the law. Because if you read it with a low voice, not everybody will hear it. Because they don't really believe in a God of chesed. They really think that what's here is the vengeful God that they should be afraid of. That's why. And that's why we start with, hello, just before you're going through that, we want to remind you, there's only one God, and He's only chesed, only grace. Got it? Okay, now we're coming to the curses. Don't you remember we just reenact the rules? What did we say? Sometimes we see curses. We see horrible stuff. And we forget. And then we get afraid. And then we lose it. And we do stupid stuff. And we hurt ourselves. Just because we forgot. It's all good. Rav Ashlag is saying, many times we pray, God, please give me this and this and this and this. And God said, no, I love you, I can't give it to you. Why? It's not for you. And Rav Ashlag is saying, it's like you have a little child, you're a parent, you have a little tiny child, and you have these scissors, those really sharp scissors. He says, Dad, give me the scissors. Why? He says, I want to scratch my eyes. Would you give it to him? No, of course not. And the child says, you're bad, Dad, I hate you, don't give me what I want. I'm not giving it to you, I love you. So many times when the answer is no, it's because it's not for you. You think you want it, you think you need it. You know what they say? You better be careful about what you're asking for, you might get it. And then you're like, how stupid could I be? So how do you look at this? And then, for most people, this is really perplexing. How God could be so loving on one hand and give such curses on the other hand? And if you read the curses, we got them all. We got the last 2,000 years. Whatever is said over here, we got it. The whole list. The whole list. So, what do you do with that? Remember we said in the beginning, it's all consciousness, and when, according to your consciousness, that's how you see things. Right? So where is the place to invest more than anything else? Consciousness. Having a consciousness of real God will save you from so much pain and suffering and misery. Because the moment you have a consciousness of darkness, you go through a lot of pain and misery, and you think that's God. And you know what? You believe in a God, but you're afraid. He's so big, he's so powerful. You went through so much pain because of him, so you're afraid to complain. And you obey. Oh, whatever he was telling. And you're worshiping an idol, because there's no God like this. And you think that you are a man of God, and you're not. Because you don't believe in love. You believe in judgment. Now, so the Zohar about this parasha brings the most amazing, touching, emotional story. It says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to run away from the Romans. And again, think about it. If he was such a righteous person, why did he have to be hiding in a cave for 13 years? You know what does it mean, 13 years in a cave? It's a punishment. But think about it. The Ramchal says, Moses, to become the Moses, didn't he have to run away from Pharaoh? How many didn't Elijah have to run away from Jezebel to reach Mount Sinai and to get the big power of this angel? Because being a human being is about learning how to run away from illusion, from the consciousness of your eyes and your ears and all of these lies around us. Rabbi Shimon ran away to the cave, not because he was really afraid of the Romans. He had to run away from the physical world so he can reveal the Zohar. That's a running away, says the Ramchal. Every person has to do. Doing tshuva is running away from the old you. Right? Leave it behind, as we say in the eve of Rosh Hashanah. Tichle shana v'kilotea. A year with its curses will come to its demise. Tachel shana v'bichotea. A year with its blessing will just start. Do we really believe in that? We have 2 weeks to prepare. Which means, if you really, God says, I'm giving you all the bliss in the world. Are you willing to give it up? The heartache, the confusion, the disappointment, the anger about others, about yourself, about God, about anything. All of these emotions are the curses. They bring the curses. Are you willing to let them go and simply leave them behind? When I was a kid and there were troubles, my mother used to tell me that her mother used to tell her, that her mother used to tell her. You know, when you really feel that you have too much problems, just think about it, that if all the people of the world would stand in a circle and put their baggage in the middle, everyone will run and pick up his own package. And I thought it's a wise thing, till I really realized after many years of studying Kabbalah and the Zohar, that this is a terrible thing. If I can put in the evening of Rosh Hashanah, if I can put my package in 5759 and cross the line over to 5780 and leave the package behind, isn't that great? And people really believe they have to carry on the package. No, you don't have to carry the package or the baggage. You don't have to. You just let that go, because that's what God wants from us. Just let it, please, my kids, let go of it so I can give you all what I want. But we don't deserve it. If you let it go, you deserve it. I know it's so hard to let go of it because it's letting go of a lot of what you think you are. I am the person with a condition. I am the victim of that. I'm a victim of that. I have a this, I have a that. Are you willing to give it up? Are you willing to become the person God wants you to become? That's tough. That's an identity crisis big time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to do that? 2 weeks we have just to open up. Now, and then the story goes on, and Rabbi Yossi ben Rabbi Yehuda gets up one day in the morning, kam yom echad baboker, ra'a kolel u'arfot she'emfot, he saw all of these flying birds, and he saw a dove, and he calls the dove, he says, oh, you are the dove from the flood, Noah's dove, come over. I know you are really loyal. And the dove is coming, landing in front of him. Why? Because there was a debate in the yeshiva, in the academy. The colleagues of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai were in a very bad shape. It was around 70 years after the destruction of the second temple. When the first temple was destroyed, 70 years later, the second temple was already built. 70 years after the second temple was destroyed, the sages are looking around and they see the Romans, with all their corruption and idol worshipping and idolatry, you just name it, they did everything wrong. They said, their philosophers said, whatever we appreciate, the Jews look at it as impure. Whatever we can stand, they love it. It's like we are not talking the same language. It was a crash of civilizations. Right?
Mm.
Who won? Can you know, Titus, who destroyed the second temple, took the treasures, and he built the Colosseum. Exactly the antithesis. What did they do in the Colosseum? Pleasure in its biggest was to watch people killing each other, to watch animals tearing people into pieces. This is not God. This is not what the temple represented. Is it legal right now?
No.
No. So who won? So the Romans won the battle, but they lost the war. Right? The one who laughs is the one who laughs last. But those days, though they saw the Roman Empire and they didn't see the end of it. Are we going to survive the Roman exile? Because they said there are two places with curses in the Torah. One in Parshat Bechukotai, the end of Leviticus. And they said that's for the first temple. But in the end of the curses, don't worry, you'll come back home. And there's a second bunch of curses in Parashat Tavo. There are no promises in the end of it. That, they said, that belongs to the exile after the destruction of the second temple. Are we doomed? Is it what the Christians of that days already said? That they replaced Israel and Israel is finished forever? And they were kind of, what are we going to do with that? So they're sending a note to Rabbi Shimon. And the dove flies, finds Rabbi Shimon. He reads the note and he's starting to cry. He's saying, we are in our days with sages that are so powerful they can resurrect the dead. They can make miracles like bring the rain. You know, Choni HaMe'agel, Choni the circle maker. There were so many of them. They could bring the rain. They could resurrect the dead. They could create animals out of nothing, out of empty air, thin air. But they don't understand that. He says, what's going to be in the end of the days when people are not going to have such sages? And Rabbi Shimon starts to cry, and he cries, and he cries. And as he cries, בתוך כך בא אליהו ז"ל. Elijah the prophet comes to Rabbi Shimon. ראה שבחי, he saw that he cries. אמר בשליחות אחרת הייתי מוכן, I was on my way going somewhere else, but God said, go to Rabbi Shimon. He's crying. Stop him from crying. But he says, but Rabbi says, so give me the answer. He says, it's not the time to reveal the secret, not even to the righteous ones. So he says, it's like, he can't, because the crime of the destruction of the second temple is so deep. Hatred for no reason is so deep, is so horrible. Because it's, on the outside, everybody is religious. Everybody is righteous. But it's all hate motivated. Somebody could be so religious, but no, you're not allowed. The law, it's the law. And the Talmud says, you can go by the law and you're a villain. You are protruding wrath in the name of God. Because you have to do it from love. To do what's good. Not just the law. The law is just giving you the framework. But if it's not with love, it's not going to work. Elijah says that, and he goes up in a circle of fire, and Rabbi Shimon continues to cry till he falls, he cries himself to sleep. Suddenly Elijah comes again. Rabbi Shimon, wake up. Please wake up. Ashrei chelkecha. You should be so happy. Because God wants your honor. So I'll tell you the secret. All of these curses are blessings. All of them. It's just a consciousness. The moment you do the switch, you see it's not a curse, it's a blessing. Reaching that place is the Messianic days. When we can be in such a faith and connection to God that we see the blessing everywhere. This is what the whole thing is about. And I'll give you an example, says Elijah. What is the worst curse of them all? And all the plague, that's, we said before, the curse that the Israelis use when they think this is over with. When they say, this is in chapter 28, verse 61. גם כל חולי וכל מכה שלא כתוב בספר התורה הזאת, יעלם השם עליך עד ישמדך. It reads like, and all disease and all plagues that is not even written in this book, in this Torah, God will bring upon you till you will be exterminated. And Elijah says, read it again. It says, ya'alem. Remember that, when you're expecting something bad, so you read something bad. It's not bad. It says ya'alem. Ya'alem doesn't mean to bring upon you. Ya'alem means to hide and conceal. There will never be curses that will bring you to extermination. You will live forever. You will never cease to exist as a nation. Is that a curse? This is a blessing. And it even says so, but you're not. You're already in the mood of curses. You don't see. It's a blessing. Okay? And then there's a hint, a little hint. In the middle of the curses, there's suddenly verse 47, chapter 28. תחת אשר לא עבדת את אדוני אלוהיך בשמחה ובטוב לבב מרוב כל. All of this is because you did not serve the Lord your God with happiness, with all good. So, you want to know why you feel going through that misery and suffering and pain? Because you don't want to be happy. Because you don't choose the good. This is the focal point. This is, life, the universe plays according to the tune you're playing. And yes, we have evil inclination. That says, you see, it's bad. When you listen to it, you're a victim of whom? Only of your own negative voice. And the only way to get out of it is to say, no, it's all good. And you will see. The moment you look at it as good, you will see the good. And there's another one. And he says, And another one, which is also looks like terrible, verse 68, chapter 29. והשיבך אדוני מצרים באוניות בדרך אשר אמרתי לך לא תוסיף עוד לראותה. And God will bring you back to Egypt in ships, in the road that I told you not to go back there. והתמכרתם, and should offer yourself as slaves to your enemies. והתמכרתם שם לא עבדים ושפחות ואין קונה, and there no buyer. On the physical sense, it looks like that already happened. In the big rebellion, year 70, the Romans killed hundreds of thousands of Jews. They took as slaves hundreds of thousands and sold them, especially in Alexandria, was the New York of the Roman Empire. And in Rome, and in Antiochia, and in Damascus. There were so many slaves to be sold. Seller's market. Here it is. And the next rebellion, 60 years later, with Bar Kokhba rebellion, again, million Jews were killed in Israel. And hundreds of thousands were taken to slavery again. And there were 8 more rebellions in the next 400 years. 8 more rebellions. And every time was, oh, now we can get them as slaves. The Romans were really smart. They will get into us. They will get us annoyed, get into a fight. Oh, now we have slaves for free. Then you pay with the slaves, you pay the war. You get, it's all about profits. Elijah says, read it again. Ve'eshivcha Adonai Mitzrayim. This is a verse in Micha that says, Ki imetzetcha meretz Mitzrayim hareinu niflaot. I will bring you to the days of the Exodus from Egypt. In the end of the days. You will see miracles. The whole world will see miracles that never been seen. Okay? And what are the ships think? It says, Ba'oniyot. Ba'oniyot means also beto'anot. When Israel is going to come back miraculously to the Holy Land, says Elijah, the whole world will start picking on the Jewish state with all kinds of false accusation. That's aniyot. Aren't we lucky we're living in such a day and age? As it says, we're here. V'itmakartem shem lo'evecha, and you will offer yourself to your enemies as slaves. You say like, we are alone against the whole world. They hate us. What are we going to do against those and against those, against the BDS and against boycott and against blah, 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 and everybody's against us. We're just few millions against the whole billions of people. Muslims and Christians and Chinese and Japanese, everybody's against Israel. You will offer yourself, v'itmakartem is also addiction. What is addiction? You hand over the control to somebody else. Oh, what can we do? It's like, how long would Israel, they make this poll. How long do you think Israel will exist? It's like a given, Israel won't exist. That's exactly what the Zohar says. That's what the Torah says. Ve'en koneh, says Elijah the prophet. Katuv she'en en koneh, koneh no buyer. But koneh means, kinyan means rule. And mi sheyuchal lishlot lechem. There's no one who can rule over you anymore. It's over. This will never happen again. Even if you're going to sell yourself, like give up, you can't anymore. You can't lose. All of this will be in the end of the days. We are there. And everything is one thing, teshuvah. Just reconnect to the light. Hakol satum, and it won't be seen, won't be understood. Leman taskilu et asher ta'asun. Mi sheyesh lo lev yistakel, whoever has a heart will see that happening in front of their eyes. Ve'yada lashuv l'Adonai, will know how to reconnect to God, to His Master. You see it? Some people, Jews and non-Jews alike, see the miracles and are in awe. Wow, this is unexplainable. They can do tshuva, and they can connect to the light and experience this amazing days and age that we are living. And whoever are blocked don't see that. They get scared of everything. They get sour of everything. Everything is upsets them. You see, that's a sign. It's the end. The end of the world has come. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're living in marvelous times. Oh, there's a lot of stuff to fix. But we're in the most miraculous age, and more to come. Rosh Hashanah is an opportunity like never before. 5780. Thank you.